Hi, welcome to Paramesh.me. Today we will discuss about website designing, how to become a website designer, how to start a career with a website designing. So before doing website designing, you have to familiar with a few softwares, editing softwares like Photoshop, Illustrator, CorelDRAW. And now let us take number one, Photoshop, Adobe Photoshop. So now here I suggest you to work on Photoshop at least 1 year, like in any studio. Let's say you're doing some MCA, you're doing some intermediate, or you're doing some degree. After that, you're planning to move it to website designing or any another animation career. So I suggest you just do part-time job in any studios, in any photo studios kind of stuff. So probably it will give you more command and Photoshop software. So that's what I suggested here. Which is Adobe Photoshop. So you have to learn from basics. You have to be very strong. You have to be very good at photo cutting, image manipulations, and at the same time with colors. So let's say if you know the paint, probably you may have played already with paint so much, so it will be easy for you in Photoshop if you are familiar with colors and if you are strong in colors, and even if your design sense is good. If you know the Photoshop a little bit, then it will do wonders. So probably let's take an example, like you may have to create one brochure. Let's say not brochure, let's take marriage invitation for your brother's marriage or whatever. So if you have familiar with colors or any other drawing stuff, probably if you work very well in Paint, MS Paint, Microsoft Paint, it's a really good software. It's really good start with Adobe Photoshop. Adobe Photoshop is basically in website designing. Basically, we will use for photo manipulations, photo editing in the sense not like marriage photo editing. It's like suppose let's say we have a 300 pixel into 250 wide photograph, so then we can use Photoshop to cut it. And we have some automation tools also in Photoshop where you can convert directly image to HTML file. No need to writing code, divs, tags, tables, nothing. So probably that might not be a good idea if you have any urgency. If it is not a professional work, if probably you want to show something, from marriage, some kind of wedding invitation, you can use Photoshop and create HTML and div files directly. So you will get to know once you entering into the Photoshop. You have slice tool for that. So let's say this is a photo editing, and let's say I have designed the website in blue color. Probably I am getting all images in only orange color. So at that time it will be difficult for us to find same color, same pattern color photographs. So that's why I suggested using Adobe Photoshop at the same time here, which is photo editing. There you can do manipulations to the image. You can customize the colors, whatever existing now. Let's say I have a green color photograph. You can change it to blue. You can change it to some other orange. You can use color variants. You have so many options, color balance and hue saturation, so many things. You name it. Like let's say if you press Ctrl M, you can handle the brightness contrast very well. If you press Ctrl B in Photoshop, I'm talking only Photoshop, probably you can change colors, and there are some replace color options in image adjustments. So this is really good stuff when it comes to photo editing. Let's say, and the second thing, graphic creations. Graphic creations in the sense, let's say I have I designed already website, but I need some cute buttons with the beautiful gradients probably. So I can use other softwares also for these buttons probably, but if you use Photoshop, it will be easy for you to create multiple instances, like let's say creating layers, copy paste. Though you can do in other softwares, it will be really pretty easy in this Photoshop probably. For me it's easy, probably everyone it might be. So graphics creations. Graphics creation is not only button creation, means it's not only button creation, you can create anything. Let's say I'll show you something, 1 second. If you see here this bit defender, of course this is not I'm not this is not, I'm not really selling this video, so probably I don't have any issue with the branding. Let's say I've taken a bit defender, which I'm using right now. So if you see here the background color with the red shadow, and the background the black, and some mix violet color, some kind of stuff. So all this kind of stuff can be done very easily in Photoshop. So though you can done in other softwares, but you never compare with the Photoshop. Because I never worked in other softwares really. I mean, like probably in Linux we have some other softwares like Zim, some other, I don't know exactly, probably. So you can do those type of graphic designs in Photoshop. Let's say if I want to create a banner which with certain images, with a certain image at the right side and the text at the left side, and probably I want the heading, nice heading with a bevel and emboss kind of stuff. So at that time it will be very useful. The Photoshop is very useful. You can use the dimensions and pixel basis. I think I always prefer when you're working with web, you always take as a pixels. Do not take anything else. No centimeters, no inches. It's not going to work very well with you. I suggest always pixels. Probably why? Because all of the monitors are we have pixel based only. Let's say max minimum some 1000 pixels for the current marketing, to up to probably some 1200, even 1300 also there. So Photoshop is best for designing banners, cutting edges. If you want to cut the image without having any, let's say I have an image with a background, I want to change the background of that image, you can simply cut using pen tool. There are multiple tools like selection tool, lasso tool, polygon lasso tool. There is not much difference between lasso tool, polygon lasso tool, with slightly automation implemented in the in multiple tools. So I suggest pen tool. If you learn pen tool, we're pretty good. I mean, like, it's really good enough for you to play with all images, any images. Once you have to cut, once you done with cutting, and you may have to give some probably, what do you call that? I forgot. Yeah, feather. So if you give 1 pixel, it will blend into the background very good, and if you give 2 pixels, very good, and if you give 5 pixels, it will become too high. But and again it shows like some effect that you see it, that red background thing, right? You will get that effect using the feather. So that's what Photoshop does. There is very limitations. I just told you very few things on Photoshop. That is, it's like C probably. If you want to do some digital painting, you can do. If you want to do some what do you call for 3D, you have some textures. You can create 3D textures in Photoshop, and you can create lightings in Photoshop. It's really awesome. You can play with it. I mean, you have a liquify option. If you get bored with the Photoshop to work with, just play with the liquify option. And yeah, nice. That's it. That is what Adobe Photoshop is exactly. If you learn what Photoshop, and just don't get into bad stuff. Once you learn Photoshop, just try to be very in a positive way. So then, because Photoshop will it's like it's never ending to learn. There are so many plugins available. There are so many other stuff is available, like textures. No need to create. You can buy if you want the textures also, patterns, textures, and any other brushes you can buy, and you can. There are so many open source also you can download. So I suggest do not go into getting into bad ideas kind of thing. Probably you are seeing right now some morphing kind of thing. That's not good practice. And yeah, if you don't do that, probably you will get a new ideas. You can get great career without having any problems in your life. I can guarantee you that if you learn only Photoshop also, you can survive for the entire life. Of course, for the current trend, our guys are not able to create in India, our people are not able to create the jobs. That's a different part. I don't want to get into that. Anyway, this is Adobe Photoshop, and the second software which I recommend is CorelDRAW. And the third software which I recommend is Adobe Illustration. So let's say vice versa. There is no, I'm not giving any numberings to these things because it's everything is really important, Adobe Illustrator. And if you really want to work only into designing or only into like job works kind of thing, there is one more software called Adobe InDesign. Of course, I'm going a little out of the subject, which is not related into website designing, because I just want to cover this software also. This will help you even if you want to get into some designing stuff. So CorelDRAW, you can do wonders in CorelDRAW. I forgot to tell you something about there are two types of images. One is pixel based images, pixel based graphics, let's consider, and one is vector based graphics. Okay, one is pixel based graphics and another one is vector based graphics. There is no confusion. Pixel based means, let's say I have created some 500 by 300 pixel width and wide and height of image. If in Photoshop it's a pixel based image, I saved it into JPG. Of course it's a pixel based image, and I have a PSD file also now. Let's say after 1 month I want to change. After 1 month or probably next time I want to change. I want to change the size of the image probably to 1000 pixels by 1000 pixels. At that time we will be having an issues with this pixel based graphic, because in Photoshop the graphics will create on a pixel basis. So pixel basis in the sense it will, let's say I'll show you something. Probably are you able to visible here for you? Are you able to see this? Like this is pixel based. So small square boxes have individual colors which will converted it as an image. So this is a pixel based. I suggest pixel based only for smaller images. Where for web practice it's good enough for us. Pixel based is good enough. If you want to create some graphics like banners and big wall posters, probably you may have to learn this CorelDRAW. I forgot to divide this thing. Adobe Photoshop is completely pixel based, and this CorelDRAW illustration and InDesign is vector based. No matter whatever the graphics you create in these Adobe InDesign, Adobe Illustrator, illustration, CorelDRAW, you can resize it to maximum extent, probably some 4000, 5000 pixels without putting pressure on the processor of our PC. So if you do larger size images in Photoshop, there will be a problem for us. We will get some scratch disk. We have to do some change settings. So I suggest not to do with high-end images, probably unless you have a very high-end graphic card and processor. We don't need that for web standards. So for website designing, we don't need all those stuff. Let's say if you're working with Maya textures and all, then probably it might be useful. So let's say we are not getting to that topic again now. I'm talking about only this website designing. So CorelDRAW, where you can use this CorelDRAW in website designing is probably, let's say I've designed one website designing in the sense you may not get a job, or you may work as a freelancer. You may get a job, I didn't mean to say, but if you're working as a freelancer or if you're working in a small company, probably you may have to design everything. Let's say from visiting card, from brochure, from everything. So at that time it will be helpful to if you learn CorelDRAW, Adobe Illustrator or Adobe InDesign, it will be really useful to create brochures or any other branding systems. Let's say if you're into designing world, don't expect to do things limitedly. Let's say if you're working only with the designing visiting cards and designing kind of stuff, probably website related graphics, don't stick to that. Probably you may have to create branding also. Let's say you're creating some water bottle company, creating website for water bottle company. Soon after designing website and all, probably they may come to you after seeing your work. Probably they may come to you to redesign their water bottle, the wrapper, the branding, the design. So at the time it will be really helpful for you to work in CorelDRAW and Adobe Illustrator or InDesign. I'm not saying that Photoshop is not good for those things. It's really good for graphic wise, and if you want to do some kind of stuff without having any issue with the sizing conventions, I would suggest please CorelDRAW, Adobe Illustration and Adobe InDesign. And I'm not diverting you. For all web standards, Photoshop is good enough, even if it is a maximum up to 1300 very wide monitors. Okay, I'm done with the softwares which you have to learn. So basically the first point is that one, learning softwares and get practiced. That's a big deal. Learning softwares, even I can learn a software in a matter of 20 days. That's it. But without practice, it's a waste to learn. So you have to learn the software, you have to practice the software, you have to play with the software, you have to be interested to work with the software. You don't work like you want to get money. If you work with the software only for money, then probably you might end up with a fixed amount of money. Probably, let's say if you are 15,000 salary you're getting, you will get some 30% hike, 30% hike. So no need to worry about the thing which you are. Let's say you are working in an organization, no need to worry about salary concerns if you are a junior designer. So just learn, try to get practice, get into multiple things. Just don't depend on only one thing. So let's say currently organization is using only for you, using you only for cutting images. Let's say it's like unlimited work. Let's work happily. You will become an expert in cutting images and find out shortcuts and finding out creating save as images in a different sizes with when it comes to mobiles and small you will become an expert in saving those kind of images probably. So do not stop your work with only in office, and just get into home and just practice yourself and do yourself whatever the stuff you want. Of course, if you have a girlfriend, and you can spend at least 1 or 2 hours, even if you have a girlfriend, that's not an issue, because this is for your good career. Like let's say if you work 2 years only on cutting images, after 2 years you will end up with no job. So probably no company they might be using, but I suggest do not. If you can work there, I'm not asking you to not stop working, but just try to be practiced always in home also. So Adobe Photoshop should be part of your life if you are in designing. And yeah, I directly coming to second point. I'm coming directly, of course, but I think I missed out something. I told you about color combinations, but still I have to take it as another point. I'll tell you about the colors. So I currently I don't remember the types of colors, but you just Google, you will get the types of colors like monocolor, tricolor, some kind of stuff. Color wheels. You just Google color wheel, you will get to know more information about the color. So you have to know very well about the colors. If you are a painter, then you are awesome. You are into the right track to learn about the Photoshop and the other CorelDRAW or other softwares. So then let's say you are a non-designer, you're coming from MCA, Master of Computer Applications like me probably. So if you're not a designer, so then you have to get into learn all these things. You don't need to go and learn about drawing stuff. You don't need to worry all those things. You just learn about color wheels, how it works, how the complementary colors works, and other stuff. So this is a very important information for you to know. Color is always, it matters. So let's say if you have a 4 years of experience and you're working in a very big company, it's a very big brand, so they will consider each and everything. So let's say they will consider every person's. Let's say I'm the person who has a good visibility with my eye, I don't have any issues. There are people, let's say for the coming world, in the current situation, people are having a very less visibility. Like let's say in 100% probably some 10 to 15% has visibility problems, eye problems, color combination problems. Some people will can able to see long distance, can able to see small text, can able to see only big text, kind of stuff. So if you get into bigger companies, they will be considering each and every aspect of this. So you have to learn all those things. Once you get into designing world, you will get to learn. But once if you get into professional company, big company, they will, especially e-learning companies, they will consider all these things, because the students is this is a very important. Let's say, I'm not talking about Indian companies, Indian online education. I'm talking about the future Indian online education. Probably we will develop. I don't think we'll be always like this. Yeah, that's what I mean. Color is very important. Combination, the color combination, and the contrast between the background and font, and so many stuff to learn. So much stuff to learn. I mean, like, you just Google about color wheels, you will get to know a lot of things. So don't become a mad of knowing colors, but it's not ending. There is no ending to know about colors. So you just get to know about that and get into the subject, related to subject. Okay. And yeah, I have already told you about pixel based and vector based. I'm just removing, so you know all these softwares now. So I'm removing all these things. Okay. Next. I'll come into second point. This is very interesting. Learn HTML, CSS, JavaScript. Let's see, if you are a BTech, if you have completed your BTech, if you have completed your degree, BSc Computers, and if you have completed your MCA, Master of Computer Applications, even me also. So it will be easy for you to learn HTML and CSS. I forgot to mention HTML5 and CSS3. Yeah. So yeah, this is the best thing. You start with the HTML, CSS. Don't go directly to HTML5 and CSS. Of course, it's a latest trend, HTML5. It will take, I think, nearly 3 more years to get into completely, all browsers will comfortable with this HTML5 and CSS3. So meanwhile, you just start with the HTML and CSS. That's a good practice for you to learn. Let's say HTML and CSS. What is HTML and CSS? HTML and CSS is nothing but front-end programming. So if you want to display, let's say I've created a website template from Photoshop. I've designed it in Photoshop. So then after that, I want to create it convert it into HTML and CSS, which will be visible in the web. Yeah, I can do it without converting into HTML, CSS. Let's say I have uploaded directly image to the web, and I'll just give links and click. So it's a matter of performance, and visitor do not wait if you are trying to load the image in your website. So I suggest always, even while using your HTML and CSS, try to decrease the usage of images. If you have any repetition background, you can use any small pixel kind of. If you use small pixel, and it will repeat automatically. If you have a color, you can give color. If you have a same kind of gradient of horizontally, you can use a single patch color, and then it will repeat automatically. We have so many options in CSS. Repeat, background repeat. You can restrict to vertically, horizontally, x-axis, y-axis. So much stuff you can do. In HTML5, I can't say, even I'm not an expert, but it's really awesome. And you don't need to worry about the images in HTML5. You can create the gradients, you can create everything whatever you want in HTML5. So I'll tell you about later about this HTML5. Now I'll explain you about this HTML and CSS. I'm already telling, but HTML and CSS, basically we have two things in HTML and CSS. We have tables and we have divs. So to beautify, this is HTML. You can write. These are the tags. These are the main tags which we will use commonly in HTML and CSS. There are some other tags like P, paragraph tag, italic, and some kind bold, emphasis, and span. So basically, we'll use all these stuff in our website designing. So in this, we have to concentrate more on divs. Of course, tables are really good, and I'm not saying that to not use tables at all. But if you're working with any responsive designing, or if you're working with any, let's say, you have some overlapping images. Let's say I have one image. Again, I want to put one background. Again, on that background I want to put one image, and that image again I want to put something else. If you want to do that kind of stuff, you better use divs instead of tables. It will always give you freedom to play with all around the interface of the screen, monitor screen. Currently you can consider 1000 pixel as a minimum size of the monitor. You can use 1000 pixel, no problem for the width, and you can use 1200 pixels for all current for our modernization monitors. I'm talking only about monitors. I'll talk about mobile tablets later. I will provide a separate video. I will do separate video for these mobile tablets. It's really a lot of stuff to learn. I've taken this. Okay, this is called, I told you, this is called HTML. What is CSS? CSS is nothing. CSS is just beautifying the HTML. That's it. CSS will beautify the HTML content. Let's say I've displayed some content in tables and divs. If you use CSS, this table divs content will display very neat and very organized and very let's say if you want to use specific font size, specific width and height, everything you can do it here, but there are different types of CSS. I'll explain you now. So if you use CSS, you can just beautify the HTML and CSS. So that's what we are doing. Responsive designing, everything can be handled in CSS. Currently we are seeing some Bootstrap, some other CSS stuff, some other CSS frameworks we are seeing in the market. So it's nothing but CSS. That's it. They have written some CSS in an organized manner, so that it will be it's let's say an architecture way. I have designed a website with if I want to write some CSS, I have written like bold, I have given something like stuff, a class, or whatever the CSS. But they have written this CSS by considering future purposes and considering other aspects when it comes to devices, when it comes to monitors, when it comes to minimize, when it comes to smaller monitors. They have designed these CSS, written these CSS by considering all those stuff. That's why they are creating. They're mentioning that their own architecture. So that's, if you create your own architecture in CSS, that will be your another. You can create your own architecture and you can put it as some kind of stuff. So they are using JavaScript also. That's a different thing. First, let me get into basic things. No need to worry about advanced things right now. H1, sorry, not H1. I forgot it. Tag HTML, H1, H2, H3, H4, so on so stuff. Okay. Number one is internal CSS. And number two is external CSS. And number third one, inline CSS. So I'm telling you all this about without if you don't have any idea about CSS and HTML, just don't worry. Just try to know how the concept works. Then you can learn the technologies using some YouTube videos. YouTube is the best video tutorial. I can't imagine how good it is. You have to just Google instead of how many stars today the first day released movie. Instead of typing that, type what are the latest technologies in HTML. What is the latest gossip of heroine? Instead of that, probably you can type latest framework, latest technology in CSS, and a lot of stuff you can learn. So basically, we always try to learn those things instead of these things. That's why you are always depending on others. Anyway, depending on others is also good. You are providing them some jobs. Okay. Internal CSS, external CSS, inline CSS. I'll come from bottom to top, not bottom to top, probably in a different thing. Inline CSS means, let's say I have a paragraph tag. If I write directly CSS here, I can write CSS directly here. Class is equal to T. This is an inline CSS. Of course, it's not visible, but you just Google it, types of CSS. It will be easy for you. I think I better not write even. Inline CSS, external CSS, internal CSS. Internal CSS means if I have a document, index.html. Inside index.html, I'll write one small syntax, which is style, using style tag. Okay, I don't know why my camera is not accepting the full video, so I'm just okay. Internal CSS, external, inline CSS. In that, inline CSS means you can write the CSS directly to the tag. Internal CSS means you can write CSS inside the document using style tag. You have to open style slash text slash CSS again, or close style tag. So then it will be easy for you to find out individual CSS. So then if you want to use same CSS in multiple pages, I think it's better to use external CSS. That's a really good idea, and you can create a multiple number of CSS style sheets. No need to worry about creating only one file and then grab it and use it. You can use multiple CSS files and load it in using link tag in our HTML. So you can note it down all the tags, whatever I'm saying, and Google it. You will get to know very easily about it. I'll do one direct video, screen by screen sharing my desktop probably sooner or later. It will be. I'll do my best to make it understand to you. So then that's it, HTML and CSS. So then after that you can get into HTML5 and CSS3. It's a lot of stuff. I'm not going to explain everything in today. I'll tell you a few things right now about HTML5 and CSS3. If you're guys from background ActionScript, if you know Flash, Flash, ActionScript 2.0, 3.0, it will be easy for you to learn HTML5 and CSS3. So why? Because just like ActionScript, in Flash environment, you can create canvas. You can create graphics by writing code. Just there we'll write code of ActionScript, either 2.0 or 3.0, depends on the version and compatibility. Here we will write JavaScript. That's it. So there we will write to create a rectangle, kind of create rectangle with the x dimension, x position, y position, and so on so width, and so on so height, and so on so color. Same thing you will do in HTML using JavaScript. So which is in HTML5. In HTML5 they have introduced a new thing, a new concept called canvas size. Canvas. So this canvas will be it has boundaries. Let's say you are creating some graphics. You have to create a canvas first, and then you can create whatever the graphics inside the canvas. So you can, if you want to cross the boundaries, I don't know much about the canvas. I as per ActionScript, I know a little bit about this, creating graphics. I can go beyond boundary also. I don't know about this canvas. So here, if I want to create a rectangle, I will be having one simple function called create. I don't know the function name. So the function name with the parameters of x, y, x position, y position, and then width and height. Then it will draw automatically here. After that, you may have to give color, and you may have to give some other border thing. You can write all those things. You can create graphics just by writing JavaScript. So if you know very well about JavaScript, and if you are good at OOPS, and then better to learn JavaScript OOPS also. It's not a big deal. There's just function itself class in JavaScript OOPS. So you don't need to worry about you have to write class function or nothing. You class, and again inside private members function, the same kind of structure, but you don't use class in here. You will use always function itself class in here. Just Google object oriented JavaScript and get into video tutorials. You will get to know more about JavaScript. Then you can play in HTML5 and CSS3. So as I told you, HTML5 and CSS3 saves a lot of graphic designing work. Let's say if I want to create a gradient, I have to go to Photoshop and create a gradient and cut it to small piece, and I have to write a CSS that to repeat background, so on, so stuff. To avoid all those things, HTML5 and CSS3 has introduced new stuff. Of course, we have this thing in even CSS2 also, but some browser issues. We have to write some kit. I don't remember. Some kind of depends for each browser. You have to write individually, even in HTML5 also. But here it will cut off with single line of code. So then it's beyond our imagination when you compare with HTML and CSS3. Yeah, I'll do one thing. I'll just create another video after I just get into in HTML5 and CSS3, probably within a 1 week or probably in 10 days span. Done. I'm done with second point. Design and launch your own website with a portfolio. That's the best thing to express yourself and to become a more confident while you are expressing your designing skills to the HR people or either other graphic designers, senior graphic designers. It's really good stuff. You just design and launch your website. It's not a big deal. Matter of some $1,200. If you don't know how to create within a $1,200 or $1,500, contact me. learning@paramesh.me or +91 974 0063 Pay me $1,500. I'll give you a personal website. No need to worry all those stuff designing also. I suggest you design your website. I'll just jump into my server. So I'll redirect your domain, whatever you suggest you like domain. So don't expect too much for that. I'll be giving some limitations for that domain thing. No problem. You can express everything, whatever you want in that website. Let's see a lot of examples. No need to remember. Yeah, this is a very important point. You just go through the websites, keep on going. No need, just waste your time instead of watching movie. Of course, if you want to become a director, then go and watch movies always, even stupid videos also. But here you want to become a website designer. So just get into websites and see number of examples. Let's say per day, you just put a target like I want to see today some 30 websites, for example. Just look into the websites and just go through them. That's it. Just navigation and how they have represented the data content in specific areas. So you have to just look into it. No need to remember. Like that, if you see some 1,000 websites, you really even don't know how experience you got. You don't need to work to get that much experience. Even if you work continuously 1 year in single company on single website, you are not even equal to 20% who has seen 1,000 examples. So you always see examples, but do not copy them completely. It's because it's a lot of hard work. So they have done a lot of hard work to create such a beautiful designs. So you just look into that, get an inspiration from them, and create your own layout. Do not copy completely from A to Z. So I seriously suggest that, because you will never become a unique designer. So yeah, see a lot of examples. No need to remember. It's done. And the fifth point, know web standards for the better designing. Yeah, this can be done after 2 years of experience. So probably you're not going to work in a bigger company, because bigger companies don't take junior designers. Until unless they have some data entry operation work, they'll take you and they'll make you to work on 6 hours data entry and 2 hours on website designing stuff. So I suggest after 2 years, you just know all web standards for the better designing. See, this is not a big deal. You don't need to have a 3 years or 4 years of experience to know about these web standards. You just Google it, you will get everything. It's just a matter of knowing is not a big deal here. See, practicing is always big deal. So knowing something is always better than practicing something is always better than knowing something. So if you know something, you just have to practice it. Don't just you can't say that I know it. No. So you have to learn it. Okay, you have to practice. And Improve seriousness, quality of work, responsibility, explore, research, so on so stuff. This can be, this you will get into automatically. This sixth point, without unknowingly. So unknowingly we'll get into this stuff. Sixth point. If you follow these five steps seriously, you will get into sixth step unknowingly. So improve seriousness. Sorry, seriousness is always gives quality of work, and if you do quality of work, you will get automatically responsibility. So why? Because if you are doing quality of work, someone will wants you to take more responsibilities. You are getting more responsibilities means you will take more responsibility. You will get you will get more familiar with responsibility. So you are into responsibility, then you are a successful person in the society, and it will be really good for our country. Not the organization which you are working, not only the organization which you are working, and not only you, and your country would be a really will get a huge success. It's a different stuff. So responsibility is always very important. Probably you may not get it in 1-2 years, you will get in 3-4 years. Even after 4 years also you will get diverted to other things, but you have to be stable with your work, whatever you are doing. Explore, research, yeah. So once you're familiar with all this stuff, you will get to know, you will explore automatically according to the trend. My suggestion is apply for job. No need to get into interview. Just apply for job and you will receive thousands of emails about latest technology, what they are looking for. So you can learn it from them. So you don't need to Google and where do I have to find latest technology. No need to worry. Just throw your resume into Monster and just look into your emails. You will get to know all latest technologies easily. And then don't waste HR and other companies' HRs or recruitment staff timing by attending interviews. If you are seriously if you seriously want to do job, just get into you can go for interview. Otherwise, just ignore the emails and just look the technology and ignore the email. And don't make it spam here. Yeah, that's it. Improveness, seriousness, exploring, research. Yeah, let's say I'll give you one small example about explore and research. I seriously don't know about the latest technologies in JavaScript. Let's say I'm considering. Everyone wants JavaScript. So probably after 2 years, JavaScript will become a really huge market because all HTML canvas depends on JavaScript only. Probably they'll get a new technology, they'll get new applications where it one second, it will create graphics automatically, just like drag and drop you are doing in .NET. Probably it will get into this stuff also in HTML5 and CSS3 also. So in JavaScript there are a lot of frameworks. Currently you may listen always, you may you will get always one thing, jQuery. Now the requirement is huge in jQuery. Everyone wants jQuery. What is jQuery? jQuery is nothing. It's a library. It's a library which simplifies the scripting of JavaScript. If I want to write, if I want to create, let's say, if I want to animate this thing from, this is a monitor, let us consider, I want to animate this thing from here to here. For that I may have to write at least one class, and in that again 2-3 functions to handle x coordinate, y coordinate, and to handle width and height, so on so stuff. In jQuery we have a simple thing. They have created one jQuery library. You have to simply call that library into our whatever the page, wherever you're doing. You can simply write one small function: toggle left, toggle right, toggle up, toggle down. It's like if you want to accordion kind of stuff. For animations, I don't remember, slide left, slide right or something, I don't know. If you Google it, you will get to know so many things. Kind of, it's very easy if you for you in jQuery. So it's based on one framework which they have created. So everyone is used $, kind of stuff for this jQuery script. You can use even Paramesh also if you want my name, and you can use something else, some zero also, that we have a no conflict function. You can change the symbol also. If you just get into the Google, you will get to know more about jQuery. I can do one video because it's been very long time for me to work on jQuery, so I have to be prepared to do a video on this jQuery. Don't expect me to to show you examples in here. I'll create separate videos by sharing my video screen. I have to buy some software, so then after that I'll do that. Okay, like that we have so many other things. Extend.js. I'm not remembering. Node.js. REST. Am I right? I don't know. REST. JSON. And recently someone was asking about Node.js, JSON, REST, and there are so many other frameworks. You don't need to worry. You can learn all of them in each of them in probably in 10 days. If you want a jQuery, if you 10 days, if you sit dedicatedly for 4 to 6 hours, you will get to know about jQuery very well. There are so many other resources. You can Google it and you can find it. YouTube is the best video tutorial. You can find anything. There are so many people who has created videos with by just showing step by step how to create a function, how to use a function, how to load jQuery libraries, what is the inside library, what are they have written. So everything they have mentioned step by step in YouTube. So if you want specific channels, probably you may contact me at easy to develop, easy to develop @gmail.com. But anyway, you will get just by googling in YouTube, just typing in YouTube jQuery. If you want, you just type in jQuery, you will get so many videos. Yes, that's it for the JavaScript. Yes, I just want to tell you about 2 technologies currently. Really, people are asking when it comes to UI development. SAS and less. This is completely related to CSS. So just like JavaScript, we have some libraries. Just like for CSS also, we have SAS and less to minimize the using number of classes. In CSS, in CSS we have 2 things. One is class, one is ID. So dot is represented as a class, hash is represented as an ID. So if I want to write, if I want to design a responsive website, website designing, there if I have to use one class, in one class I have to represent, let's say I'm using color hash 0e0ff 5 times. I don't need to write 5 times for that. You can minimize that using less and SAS technology. I really don't know much about less and SAS. I'm still getting know about it. But as for my up to now, I just Google and I just went and interviewed there. One really, he is a nice guy. He explained about me SAS and less. So that's what is exactly SAS and less, and you can just Google it and find out. Friends, that's it. That's a website designing. If you want to become a serious website designer and to become to do your career only into website designing world, then this is the best what I can give information. So all this information is given based on my experience only. I'm not guessing anything. If you find really helpful, and thanks for watching my video. If you find really helpful this video, just like me. And that's it. If you need any information, just email me. I'll do some videos, and please give me your inputs, as this is my first video and I'm not doing any second time, first time, and third time, third, fourth. This is a one-time video. I'm not going to cut it and editing, so I don't have time. Just give me a suggestion. I'll try to avoid if I'm doing any stupid things while creating video. So just give me some suggestions. I'll try to avoid them. Please don't scold me. Just give me as a suggestion. Yeah, that's it. Thank you very much, guys. It's nice to talk to you, and it's nice to give a video on this website designing. And bye bye. See you.